All right, late night pod is up on a Monday night off from the Golden Knights. Maybe we'll do a little Golden Knights later on. I'm not sure if Chuck or Bret care about hockey, but we might get into it. Yeah, so we got Bret on, and Chuck is here. Good old Chuck, who was with Cofield and Company for a while. What's going on, guys?
Hey, Steve. Thanks for having us back. Bret, introduce yourself.
Hey, this is Bret Ernst, partner and host of the Bret and Chuck Show.
He's already starting to laugh. It's rolling off the tongue easier, I think. But we're greasing the wheels a little bit, getting our show started. Steve, thank you for giving us a forum to talk about what we're doing on the side as well.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We got the big timers here. I was blown away, but we'll see if the audience can figure out who the big timer is. Of course, it's good old Chuck. Chuck, no John Von Tobel tonight because he's got to get up for a 4:00 show. And Bret, our other guy, Adam Hill, isn't here. Adam's a big guy, and he's basically just stuck with bad luck all the time. So he's trying to lose weight. He was working out, and apparently he heard a pop in his calf, so he's got a torn calf muscle. So he's all drugged up tonight. So
How old is he?
He's 41. Maybe 42.
Yeah, it's starting to happen now. He's in his 40s. It's going to start to happen.
Oh, it falls apart, believe me.
He's one of those big guys, Bret, but he's got a pretty good jump shot. So I can imagine, him playing a little bit of one-on-one, getting ahead of himself in his early 40s and tearing it that way. I don't know the first thing about how he did it, but for a guy who can pull up a shot pretty decent, yeah, it's probably what it ended up doing.
Hey, do me a favor, guys. When you get a chance, if you haven't retweet the tweet that was sent out, that'll help us.
Here, let me grab my phone.
I'll give them some time to do that.
Our show.
And while he's gone, Chuck, tell everyone in the Cofield and Company audience what you guys are doing in terms of a show.
Oh, we're putting together the Bret and Chuck Show. There was a lot of talk about the title and just how we got there. So that eventually came to a head, and we at least settled on Bret's name being first. But
that's not how it happened. That's not how it happened.
we had a bunch of good ideas.
Fucking Bret sounds like fucking Bret.
Fucking Bret.
We did Bret and Chuck. We played it both ways.
It does work, yes. And even though he's the much more recognizable name, it makes it a little easier to put it ahead of me. That is a factor, but it's going to be a sports-based show between two buddies from LA. Bret and I first met each other through comedy. Bret being much more seasoned than I, as you could probably tell by his resume. But Bret was actually in one of the first production job projects I was putting together. It was something called Comic Underground. And he was one of the first comedians to sign on that. We became friends that way. Sadly, that never came to fruition, but moved here to town and decided to work together again. So putting together a sports show. Already started some of our NFL predictions going into the season. Who's going to be winning the divisions, wild cards, whatnot. Some of our
just for the whatever it is. You get on DraftKings. I almost said Final Draft. If you get on DraftKings, you can actually do parlays now with the division winners.
So I would have to pick every division
winner? No, you can do 3 of them.
Oh, just 3? All right.
I got the odds here too. But so we're not sponsored by DraftKings yet. But
yeah, exactly. Yet
we need a title for the studio, so we'll keep that in mind. We'll reach out to their people.
Yeah, so if you go to DraftKings, you can pick division winners because that's what we did on our last episode. Which now it's changing. I mean, I think we did go with Tennessee, but I think Tennessee is
You and I were at a head there because it's pretty comparable when it came to Indy and Tennessee. Who's going to run off with the AFC South. But the numbers were so close when it came to William Hill at that point. And I can't remember what had just happened that would move the line a little bit. But we noticed there wasn't a lot. It was when Julio Jones. It was Julio Jones. That's right. I couldn't remember if it was that or something else. But, yeah, there was really no change to the total. I think they still had Indy as a slight favorite, but pretty comparable. But that was the only thing we were kind of at a loss for. You and I, it was a little tough because Bret and I were in agreement on too many areas, so we had to make some decisions there, make some fan choices.
I got all my sheets last night. I was at the sports book looking at the odds. I'm getting all excited. I mean, come on, look. I'm really into I'm liking the Knights. I jumped on that at the beginning of the season. I was, I didn't grow up a big hockey fan. I rooted for the Devils when I was a kid because my sister-in-law worked at the front office. And then, I was in Florida, in South Florida. I would go to Marlins. But, I'm like a chick when it comes to hockey. I got like 3 teams, and I like But when it comes to like football, that's all I care. We're just killing time in between football season as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that'll begin the cycle here. We spent a little bit of time talking basketball, but everything that Bret and I have been speaking about is mostly related to football, getting ourselves ready for the upcoming season, talking some Raiders, talking Cowboys, and all the topics in between. A lot of draft stuff we started. We did a pretty good draft segment that we were proud of. We did pretty well there, and then when the numbers came out on William Hill, and, small details like the Green Bay Packers not having a number on whether or not wherever they're going to stand in their division, and the fact that Denver didn't have a number there.
It also depends now on where Aaron goes, Hey, my boy Zaven Collins, though, you saw he caught a case. He caught a charge.
What did he catch?
A reckless driving charge in Arizona.
Already. Wow.
Yeah, he got arrested. You see, Frank Clark on the Chiefs may still be in jail right now. He got popped in L.A. He had an Uzi in his car. Seriously.
Really?
They pulled him over, and they're like, what's in the open bag? Frank Clark had an Uzi. So Frank Clark's already had a domestic violence incident in college. So, but he's due like another freaking $80 million from the Chiefs. So
that's 2 strikes. If he lives in Cali, that's 2 strikes.
I've never seen a Lamborghini SUV, so that was the first thing I was curious
about.
Yeah,
what is a Lamborghini SUV? I don't know that I've seen one.
I guess it's something lifted, so you're finally not scraping the bottom of it. That's probably the only appealing thing. I've seen a ton of Lamborghinis along the strip just soon as they hit a speed bump, just right down there at the bottom. Most appealing thing, easy to hold an Uzi until you get pulled over and you're not scratching the bottom of the car.
Was it registered?
Can you register?
The charge was, that's a good point. The charge was illegal firearm, illegal firearm, so I'm not sure.
Somebody just said he was released on bond.
Yeah. So he's good to go. Nice team you have there, KC Rally Mantis. Nice team. Not like the Raiders. Nice team.
Hey.
All class in the silver and black. Where are we starting? Do you leave?
Who's your squad, man?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Cofield, who's your squad?
Believe it or not, the Jets.
I believe it. And then are you Islanders Mets?
Nope. No. I'm a weird combo. Yankees, Jets. As I tell everyone, lifelong Nets fan. I never got pissed off when they went to Brooklyn. I stuck with them the whole time. So,
really?
And kind of the Devils. No, not really. No, I got pissed off that they moved to Brooklyn. But as soon as they signed KD and traded for Harden and brought in Kyrie, I'm like, yep, Nets fan again. Love them. Love them.
Well, you were with Miami for a little bit back when I was with you guys with Cofield and Company. You enjoyed watching Miami quite a bit. Did that?
Are you saying me?
Yeah, you, Steve. I remember.
Chuck, it was a bit.
Yeah, that was a bit. Okay.
Yeah, it was a bit. Chuck, I said I grew up a Heat fan. I lived in Florida for like 2 years when I was 9. It was 1979. I couldn't have been a Heat fan in 79.
Where in Florida?
On the West Coast, actually. I have family at Fort Myers, North Fort Myers.
Okay,
yeah. But I have some friends on the East Coast. So.
Yeah, no, I was the Heat fan. I've been a Heat fan since '88, since Harold Miner, Ronnie Cycli.
There you go.
That crew. Which, by the way, me and Ronnie Cycli, I met him on guyswithreallybigeyebrows.com. So we're friends.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good old school knowledge of Ronnie Cycli. I love that.
Yeah, he's DJing now.
Is he? Shut up. Is he really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
where's
Brady's
like a big DJ.
No, not quite Brady. Was never a Warriors fan. Come on, everyone knows the team I root for, or the teams I root for. Give me a break.
Yeah, I'm Cowboys, Yankees, and that's all I really care about. And I'm a diehard Hurricanes fan. But Just so you know, I'm in my 40s. So I grew up in the 80s. And in the 80s, none of those teams won anything. I mean, the Hurricanes did later on. But, you know, I'm talking about the Cowboys didn't win anything. The Yankees definitely didn't win.
So
explain
to people, because I get shit on all the time. When you grow up in the 80s and you're a Yankees fan, like what it was like is that so many people are like, oh, bullshit. Oh, you've won a whole bunch since. I'm telling you, when I was growing up, especially in the mid-'80s, the Mets fans had it over the Yankees fans because the Yankees were run like crap and Big George ruined everything.
Absolutely. I mean, my favorite Yankee of all time is Mattingly. You know, but the Yankees never won anything in the 80s, man. And, yeah, it was Strawberry and Gooden and the Mets that were the team, you know. My grandfather's a Mets fan. It's a second team because they were Brooklyn Dodgers fans. And Brooklyn Dodgers fans were sworn enemies of Yankees. But that's why the Dodgers are the Mets are that color. They got the Dodger blue and the San Francisco, the New York Giant orange, right? Because that was their team that they combined. Yeah, I know.
I was going to say, tell people which New York, New Jersey, like second team in the area has the most fans. Like who's most legit in terms of having the most fans? Because it's the Knicks number one in basketball, Rangers number one in hockey, Giants number one in football, Yankees in baseball. Who's the best second fiddle fan base? You get what I'm saying?
Oh, second fiddle?
Yeah, the second fiddle fan base. Is it the Mets, the Nets, the Jets?
Oh,
Islanders / Devils.
Whoa! You just hit all three. There's more. Are you saying the Jets have nobody, man? I mean, if you're old, if you're like 90, you're a Jets fan. Remembering back those days.
I think the Giants fans have the old fan base, and then like the upper crust kids who grew up around the Giants fans. Like I actually think the Jets have a lot of fans, and they're a lot. I'm not young, but a lot of them are like my age, from like 35 to early 50s. And the Jets fans are kind of like the classless, dirtbags we're just desperate to win.
Usually, this is how it goes. I'll explain this to Chuck. If you're a Jets fan, you root for the Islanders and the Mets.
Yep.
Usually,
yeah,
right. And if you're a Giants fan, you're with the Yankees and the Rangers.
Yep.
Usually.
Yep. Is that like Manhattan, that area? Is it regional at all, or is it just
yeah, it is, yeah.
And then basketball, they're both Knicks fans. But then when the New Jersey Nets went to Brooklyn, there was a big divide because all my friends from Brooklyn and my cousins, they're diehard Knicks. They haven't switched over, man. They're still with the Knicks. So I think that's going to be a big divide amongst New Yorkers. And then I don't think the Jersey really ever got behind the Nets. I mean, unless you had Bill Bradley.
I got behind him like early 80s. My dad used to take him to the games, but they had one big year. Say it again?
At the Brendan Byrne Arena?
At the Brendan Byrne Arena, sure. Yeah, I used to watch Mike Jaminski, and then I was a big fan of like Petrovich and Kenny Anderson and Derek Coleman.
Yeah, Kenny Anderson. Yeah, I remember him.
Oh, yeah.
And Derek Coleman, you said?
DC, yeah.
Yeah, he was from Georgia Tech, wasn't it?
Derek Coleman was Cuse, and Kenny Anderson was Georgia Tech.
Kenny Anderson was Georgia Tech. That's right.
Yeah, and then Drazen Petrovich, who unfortunately passed away. So kind of the Nets' luck.
Yeah, again, man, I got into basketball. I'm just football, man. That's all. Let's just talk football.
Yeah. So why the Cowboys?
We went over this, but it's. I'll make the story as short as possible. When I was younger, 70s, there was 5 teams on TV. My real father, he's always rooting for the Cowboys. So things happened. They went their separate ways. I figured it was their team. It was his team. It'd be my team. So I studied him, and I would call him up. I'd be like, "Yo, Dad, we just drafted Jim Jeffcoat." He's like, "That's great. Put your mother on, right?" So when we lost to the Niners the first time, I called him crying, and he was like, "What are you crying for?" And I'm like, "Because we lost." And he's like, "Why do you keep saying we? I don't like the Cowboys."
Yeah.
He was a Giants fan, but he was a degenerate gambler. He would always bet the Cowboys, so he would be like, "Come on." And I was young. I didn't know.
Yeah.
What I mean, I thought that was his team. So I just put so much into it. I stuck with him, and I've been a fan my whole life, man. I've never wavered. I was inside the NFL in 1985 in Giant Stadium with paint on. They were playing the Cowboys, the Giants, and inside the NFL, and they featured me in the beginning as a kid. I'm cheering.
No.
I've been a day one, man. Never left.
That's a good story. I've never heard someone say I picked a team because I thought my dad was a fan, but as it turned out, he just was losing on them all the time. He was a degenerate gambler, and I got fooled.
Degenerate.
That's fucking awesome. That is so awesome. Because I always make up the story that I wanted to root for the Cowboys or the Dolphins because they were good, right? Because that's what happened with a lot of New Jersey and New York area people. They were like, the Jets and Giants suck. They're terrible. I don't want to root for these teams. And I always make up the story that my dad slapped me around it a little bit. And he's like, God damn it, you're rooting for the Jets. That's just the way it goes.
Dude, listen, the Jets in the 80s, man. Come on. Freeman McNeil.
Yeah. Jets were good in the early 80s. Yep, in the mid-80s. He can't even say. He tried to say Ken O'Brien. He looked away, started laughing.
No, I was thinking the other one. Not Ken O'Brien, the other one.
Like Richard Todd or freaking
Richard Todd. That's the one.
Chad Pennington. Believe me, I've done the bit so many times on radio. Like 40 years as a fan, and I've had like two guys who were good for like 3 years, maybe. The rest has been revolving door.
See this right here?
Yeah.
Right? You see this?
Yep.
You see this right here? It's a copy of the Constitution, Congress Declaration, and this right here. Hold on, let me finish right here. You see this?
Okay. All right.
This is why I'm a Cowboys fan. I believe in God and America, and I love our team. Against terrorism. What was that? The Exorcist?
The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. I want to puke up some peace.
The Cowboys compel you.
Watch right now, Bret.
That's awesome.
Jeez.
Chuck, next time if we get you guys on again, we're gonna have Bret in a showdown with their little goodie box with Carrot Top. I'm gonna book Carrot Top. You guys are just gonna pull out your props. Just matching props and shit. That was awesome. I love that you had that all ready to go. Your Cowboy defense. The cross.
My office, I still got things to hang up. I got stuff all over the floor here.
Ooh.
But right here, this is why I love the Cowboys. I love this country.
Our audience is pretty mean, man. Here's Brady. Why did God break Dak's leg?
It was his ankle.
It's a good comeback.
That's great. You know what's funny too, Steve, is that like people don't realize. I mean, again, if you're from the East Coast, and I hate doing the East Coast, but we are so brutal to each other that it's endearing. You know what I mean? Like,
man, yeah.
We like to rip on each other and like I'll give you so much fodder to throw at me. I'll love it. We love that shit.
I know you're not into basketball. Like we were on my show today, on my sports show today, we were talking about Ben Simmons, and he's on the Sixers. And he fucked up royally in the playoffs. And Stephen A. Smith's like, I worked in Philly. Like Philly's never going to take Ben Simmons back. Like that's it. He's done. They will never take. They have to trade him because the fans there will not forgive him.
Dude, they booed Mike Schmidt.
Yep.
Philly, they booed Mike Schmidt.
Arguably the greatest third baseman in history with over 500 home runs. The guy would go into slumps and they would boo him.
But is it fair at all? I mean, I don't think it's fair to Ben Simmons at all. His skill set aside, he's probably the best four-tool guard in the league, with the one exception of the thing that you need the most out of him, which is shooting ability. He can slash, but he can't hit his free throws. He doesn't want to take the last-second shot. You can't depend on him in the fourth quarter. But the biggest issue we have is how expensive his contract is. If Philly should be pissed off at anyone, it's the front office that you could never move him for value. And even if you could find a way to do it, nobody would ever agree to take on that in their salary at all. And that's the front office. That's not even Ben Simmons' fault. I mean, he's still a young guy. I don't remember him ever being touted as a shooter coming out of LSU. It's not like, oh, he's having an off year. He's been this way since he started. This isn't his fault. This is the one area of basketball where they need to be exceptional in shooting. And he's not
You got to understand Philly, though. And again, just the way these people are. And again, the West Coast fans they're great too. But, like with the Raiders or – like, and Steve Simone made this point, by the way. This isn't my point, and he's a diehard Eagles fan, but he said this, and it's so true. when you were in Raider Stadium in the black hole, whatever it is, they were like bikers, gang members, right? Like the people at Dodger Stadium that are causing the problems. When you were at the vet and you're in Philly, it's like your kid's pediatrician trying to throw you off the balcony. Like these are like regular guys that just live for this.
And still at an 11 the whole time.
It's like a doctor that you're throwing hands with. There's something off, and anybody who knows, who's been in the vet with a Cowboys jersey on, I had a Randy White jersey on, you just know what you're dealing with, and it's a different breed of sports fan and human being, and I say that endearingly, by the way. They're out of their mind, so it doesn't matter what the front office did. Ben is gone. He's done. They're never going to take him back. It's done.
I don't know how he can earn his way back. Unless you do a complete 180 in the skill set that he's just not capable of doing well. I feel bad.
If he's shot like Jerry Jones, I think Philly would take him. Like he's got to do something. You know what I mean? Like set Giant Stadium on fire, and then do something like that. Then they'll welcome him home.
If he shot Jerry Jones,
they would be like, okay,
all right.
Well, he's got to do something insane in order for them.
I want to see Ben Simmons have like a Bill Burr type of stand-up rant to everyone at Philly who's been ripping on him. Like just do the same rant that Burr did on stage. And he's like, fuck you, Philly. I hope you fucking die on the way home if they're that pissed off at him. Because the guy's doing the best that he can with the skill set he has. I mean, who's going to say no to a contract that big? I feel for the guy more than I feel bad for him, to be honest.
I'm just saying they're maniacs. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, regardless. Yeah, all right, then take your money.
They were eating horse shit, man. There was a dude eating shit when they won the Super Bowl.
Oh, God.
Did you see the video?
I think I did see that. There might have been, at a celebration or something. I don't know what it was. Or the deal he made with the devil to, have the Eagles win the Super Bowl. I vaguely remember something like that happening. Whatever bet he lost or won. I don't know. I don't know the fans as well as you guys do.
He would have to commit murder, like go to like I don't know what he would have to do.
It was the Jerry Jones part. Take him out. Do
that, and he's the best.
Chuck, how do you blend in with Raiders fans? You're such a nice guy.
Well, like Brett's talking about it, it takes all types. Oakland's no different in that regard because, it's on the other side of the bridge. It's not like San Francisco is where it's primarily a bit more, you would say, upper class, more expensive to live in San Francisco. Oakland, it's kind of the blue collar guy. But that also takes shape in, a lot of different people. Go ahead, Brett. What did you say?
No, I'm saying, I love it. I love the Bay Area. Like Oakland, Sacramento, San Jose. It's really, really good.
And San Ramon, there's an affluent area. You got a lot of Raiders fans out there. I'm just part of the melting pot of the Raiders. There, and you've seen it firsthand, Steve. I've been to Charger games when you and I went to go tailgate before, where I saw people throwing hands that, I thought were a bit more affluent and upper class type citizens. When you get a few beers in you, you're going to throw at somebody and make yourself look stupid and ridiculous. Sometimes I just think they catch Raider fans on camera a bit too often because I think that
Chuck, cut it out.
No,
what are you talking about?
I believe this.
It's one of the most vicious fan bases. Yeah. Stop trying to act like they got a bad rap.
They got
the guy wearing the guys wearing the freaking spikes on their face and their shoulder pads. I'm not saying they're bad guys, but come on, there's an edge to them. Don't act like.
And there's value in the edge. Don't get me wrong, and it's part of their history. It's part of their legacy and everything. But there's some class behind it. But the NFL in general, I mean, are there many franchises out there where there aren't that type of person somewhere in the mix?
Yes,
it's there everywhere. It's like saying racism is in one particular area. So the same lunatic you're referring to, Steve, I may look like I'm clean cut, but if someone's throwing hands at Bret, you think I'm going to sit back and I'm gonna, it be, oh, excuse me, I want to stay out of the mix. No, I'm gonna come at whoever's coming at him. It'll come out of me naturally, but it's based on the circumstance.
Chuck, you're so far off. How many stadiums have you been in?
Total about five
Okay.
NFL stadiums.
First of all, Raider fan, and Raiders should. It's one of my favorite franchises. Look, as a Cowboy fan, I always say, there's only two teams that we talked about this. What we wouldn't be if they weren't our teams.
Right.
I've always liked the Raiders and the Raiders mystique, and the Lyle Alzados to that, and also the Browns. I told you, for some reason, I always rooted for the Cardiac Kids, and not rooted for them, but there are no
guy, Bernie Kosar and everything. That would make sense.
Okay, I've been to Brown Stadium. Yeah, you have a couple of those guys there. You don't have them in Green Bay. Okay, really? Seattle is nowhere near. They're corny as hell in Seattle. Okay, with their rainbow wigs or whatever the hell it is. But you meet some good diehard Seattle fans. Dallas doesn't have that, man. When you go to Texas Stadium, they sit on their hands, bro. The worst Cowboy fans are outside of Dallas. They're guys like me who grew up there, in New Jersey or whatever, and have that ilk that are rooting for the team. But I'm saying is that, yeah.
I'll say, Detroit Lion fans, if they're frustrated and they are all the time, they'll throw hands, and I'd be careful across them. A long-time Detroit fan, they could probably fuck you up.
Of course, yeah, I was just there, man. No, yeah, but. So in some stadiums, I agree with you, Chuck, but there's some stadiums where you don't get that, man.
Oh, I would agree that there are some stadiums you have to be more careful. But the idea of running your mouth anywhere in the 32 stadiums.
Yeah, we just pointed it out. The different stadiums you can run your mouth. Yeah. Green Bay, you can run your mouth. Yeah, I guarantee Patriots, Bills, and Jets fans walk into the stadium in Miami, and most Dolphin fans aren't going to do shit. Their stadium gets invaded all the time.
Wow. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm not convinced. I'd have to be there firsthand to say fuck you to someone in their face and see for myself.
50,000 people in the crowd.
Can't imagine.
All right, look, there's 50,000 people in the crowd.
Right.
Of course, you're going to get we're talking about the percentages.
Oh, percentages, of course. Yeah. Okay.
You go into Eagle Stadium, there's a very high percentage. You're leaving either, you're going to get in a fight.
Where
it's not worth. That's why there was
where can you not go with the opposing jersey? That's the bottom line.
You can't go in Oakland. There's
no way
you could have done that.
And you won't. And I think Vegas will be okay at the start, but as more real Raiders fans get in, it's going to be a rough place.
But my buddy Kevin used to be able to come in. But to your point, Steve, you need a chaperone.
Yeah,
and that's where I was.
Yeah. Right. You're from there. And for me, when I go to Giant Stadium, I'm from there. I'm with about 10 Giant fans. Right. So we know that ain't going to happen. And if it does, and if I was going in there by myself, dude, I'm getting rolled, man. I'm getting rolled because I'm running my mouth. I ain't shutting up.
Exactly. You're asking for it. That's why. And you can't. That's not an exception.
Listen, you should be able to wear your jersey where you want. But
you can yell all you want, but you know what you're asking for ultimately. You're not confused.
There are certain fans. There are certain stadiums that you can't go into. You got to really, and the vet, well, not the vet, but whatever. Philly's one of them. Oakland is absolutely 200% one of them. I mean, my little brother got escorted out of Seattle when he went to the game, and he was running his mouth with a whole section, and nobody swung on him. They asked him to leave.
Where was he?
In Seattle.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, Oakland.
No, I'm not saying that there are tough people in Seattle because I was in Tacoma and there is.
Oh,
but you know what I'm saying. You're more likely to get people get killed at the Dodger Stadium when the San Francisco Giants came. People get murdered.
Yeah, in the parking lot. That was a weird incident. I mean, you're right. I remember that. But Steve, do you think this has anything to do with the ticket price scenario? Is it the type of fan who can afford to get in? Or because I've been going to, I can't count how many times I've been to the Coliseum in my life. Most people can afford to get in there. It's in a surrounding area near BART. It's not a great environment. it's accessible. So anybody can get in there. It's going to bring all elements, certainly Oakland-based ones. So you have a little bit of money. You're in Seattle. New England costs a little bit more. The percentages go down. I mean, is it that simple?
So we're talking about Vegas. James says Vegas will be fine. Vegas is fan-oriented, hospitality-centered like VGK. The Raiders games are not going to be the same as Golden Knights games, I'm telling you. And this first year, it'll be okay because the people who spend all the money are going to go to the games. Once the tickets start getting resold to opposing fans and then real Raider fans, it's going to be a raucous atmosphere. I'm not saying you have to be scared to go there, and it's not going to be exactly like Oakland, but it's not going to be Green Bay here. I promise you in the next couple of years. And the other one is when you're walking out of the stadium and it's freaking 103 after the game and everyone's toked up or drunk, that walk back to the strip, you better watch your mouth. I'm not threatening you. I'm just telling you that especially if the Raiders are losing, there's a lot of pent-up frustration. And there's also real Raiders fans who aren't going to get into the game. We're going to look to kind of hang around there.
Hey, Steve, let me ask you, though, as a Jets fan, I mean, when you were at Shea Stadium, wherever they played at back then, was it rowdy? Were Jets fans rowdy? Because
yes.
I saw a Jets and a Dolphins fan go at it, but it was in Miami. But the Jets, they lived there, but it was like, I saw that happen. Was the
Jets, rowdy? I mean, I never got to go to Shea. By the time, I was a Jets fan, they were already to Giant Stadium. Yeah, it was rowdy. Yeah, I mean, if you walked in, especially if they're losing, Jets fans are fucking bitter and angry. Well, all we do is lose. And actually, the worst part was, you can look it up. There was, they had at old Giant Stadium, they had those kind of like circular tubes on each corner where, you'd walk down the ramps. There was one of them that was like, it got to a point where if you were a woman, there were so many sexual assaults on the goddamn exit. They were like, do not go down there. Like, that's how bad it got. Yeah, I think the Jets crowd has changed a little bit because, like Chuck was suggesting, they kind of priced them out. But yeah, a lot of the aggressive Jets fans, yeah, they're tough guys, man.
I was at the Cleveland Browns game when they beat the Jets on that Thursday night game, and it was when they popped open that was their first win in like 3 years. See, now look, there are fans that like those. I love Cleveland fans, man. They really are. I mean, they're a little rowdy. They can be rowdy, but they're pretty classy. You know what I mean? They're not as crazy as, Philly people. But they're so loyal to a team that was just garbage. Like I really hope Cleveland makes some noise this year,
I got to go back to what I was saying about the Raiders and the Raiders fans who can't get in, just sitting outside waiting to beat the shit out of the opposing fans if they win. So
And furthermore, Steve, incorporate that we're in Las Vegas now with gambling accessibility. Now,
that's the other thing,
lost money. That just, I mean, offshore betting's available anywhere, but now you're just upping the numbers on people who didn't cover on top of starting that fight. That's a new element.
I would this first year, I would be careful at like the casino bars that are nearby. Yeah. If you're an opposing fan, just be careful. Don't be talking shit to people wearing Raider stuff. That's all. But I told you, it's not blood on my hands. I warned you. Okay, I'm just telling you that there's going to be an element that are going to be fucking fired up to throw hands. So, I'm not sure the Raiders are going to be very good this year. That's the other problem.
Agreed.
Well, you also think though that it has to do with the city. I mean, not saying that Vegas doesn't have a crowd with it, but it's not Oakland, man.
No.
What Chuck said. I mean, I'm sure you get a little rowdy, but I bet they may not. The people that may be rowdy may not even be.
That's the thing. Yeah,
fans. They
can't get in. Yeah, our PSLs cost for much of the stadium cost $15,000, $35,000, $75,000 a seat. So you got a lot of wine and cheese fans who are going to go for the first year.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah, I tell you though, I went to that Vegas. I was the first Vegas Knights game I went to when they started playing John Wick. I was sold, bro.
Yeah, what do you think of the atmosphere? Because a lot of people around the country think it's cheesy and they fucking hate it.
I loved it, man. I thought it was great. I will say that my favorite going to a Blackhawks game in Chicago was great. That was amazing. Their national anthem was phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
get you amped up. But the Vegas Knights, man, I fell in love with the team, man. I've been rooting to follow them all year. That Fleury, great. What a great goalie.
It's awesome. Now we got a debate about who's going to play tomorrow because Leonard, who played more last year, or at least got the key assignments last year, he just played in the last game. So now we got a 50-50. Leonard may take over. Fleury may be on the bench. So it's kind of crazy. So, Chuck,
go ahead. No, I was going to say, I like to go with Fleury, man.
I think he just wants to make up for game 3 so badly. So I'd like to give him another shot, too.
Yeah, me too.
Just that lapse in judgment for a second. You want to instill his confidence back. If one more game on the road is able to do it when you're in a 2-2 tie, probably the best time to try. Sorry, Steve, you were going to say something. What were you going to say?
No, I was making I'll be honest. I was making a transition.
Go ahead.
I was going to move on to something else.
Yeah, move on. That was the last thing I had.
So, Chuck, what do you think of the A's?
I think it could be more exciting and more interesting than everything else going on in professional sports here in Las Vegas. From the Golden Knights, from the Raiders, from the soccer team. Let's acknowledge one thing. The A's actually have a very well-designed structure from the front office to the incorporation of the players. Steve, you and I have talked about this over the years. We've recognized the Moneyball aspect, but what the A's have always been able to fall back on is their revenue stream. And they've always been able to say and clarify, well, we would try spending a little bit more money if, we had some more coming in. They're like 24th in the league in payroll. Now you bring them into Las Vegas where they don't have that excuse that maybe that revenue stream starts coming in. Maybe they actually get a few marquee bats or pitchers that finally can start coming in and be effective. Bret, this is not just putting you on the spot. Can you name one player that plays for the Oakland A's right now?
No, of course not.
Of course. I don't blame you for it. They've had in the past 2 years, 2 All-Stars, both of which were 2019, one Matt Chapman and the other's Liam Hendricks.
Nobody those guys. I couldn't even tell you the name of the kid that hit the home run against the Yankees yesterday or 2 days ago.
There you go. You don't know who they are, but do you know they're like second in the league in wins right now? They're a fantastic ball club, and they started really slow in the first couple of series. Like they turned it back up. So, Steve, I didn't have a semblance of this kind of enthusiasm when we were talking about the Raiders coming in. I love the idea of the A's coming in for all the reasons I'm bringing up to you. I just wish there were some guarantees on how money would be spent when it came to the real payroll and when it came to acquisitions. Making big decisions, like maybe picking up a Bryce Harper, like maybe getting a big guy that isn't at the last third of his career that you can get for no money and probably have to, split a salary with another team, i.e. David Justice or something like that. I would love them coming in, and I think they're more likely to win. And I don't want to rule out the Knights because of the phenomenal job they did last night. I think they're more likely to win to any of the other pro teams that are in town. I think they're more likely to develop win often, which there is money coming into the town by bringing in the will be Las Vegas A's. But furthermore, isn't this just about winning championships? I'm telling you, the A's will do it better than everybody else, at least the opportunity.
All right. I'd like to destroy you on that, but I can't. That was a good point, actually. Good job, Chuck. I wanted to fire on you. Now, I don't know that they're set up better than the Golden Knights, because the one question with the A's is, are they going to spend the money? I think they will. But are the A's a better franchise right now than the Raiders? Yeah, they probably are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why I had a hard time arguing it with the Knights. But if they lose last night, maybe not. They turn into the Brooklyn Nets.
That's what Detroit Lenny just said. That's why this becomes more interesting,
Right.
Because they aren't a bad club. Yeah, that's what he just said. But the thing is, just out of curiosity, is there going to be another basketball? Are they going to take a Bay Area basketball team as well, like the Kings? Or maybe. I mean, what is with the pipeline with Oakland and Vegas right now?
Chuck?
Oh. I mean, I have never heard any talk about the Kings. I mean, I know Seattle tried to grab a hold of them for a while, so I don't see the Kings moving. I mean, it's a great question. I mean, for no other reason that they're just following the same route. I mean, I know currently right now, according to the RJ, I can't remember who wrote the article, but they made reference that they're in Texas right now taking a look at the retractable roof as a possibility to be brought out here in Las Vegas. So they're taking the routes, according to what would look good in Las Vegas. I don't see anything wrong with Sacramento paying attention. It's obviously not going to be the Warriors; they're all set. But
it won't be Sacramento either. They just built a brand new arena. They're fine. If Vegas gets an NBA, it's going to be expansion because they're going to get north of like $2 billion for expansion. So the NBA wants that money, or the one long shot to move here would be New Orleans.
Yep.
So because it's not really working in New Orleans. The market's too small. There's not enough money there, and the Pelicans belong somewhere else. But yeah, we're probably we would get an expansion team. What was it? The name stupid?
Yeah, Pelicans. They were the Hornets before that, right?
Yeah, but they stole that from, or they took it when when Charlotte came down there. Yeah, now they're the Bobcats. So,
wait, which way? Who was New Orleans before?
So Charlotte Hornets go to New Orleans. Then that's a good point.
The expansion of the Bobcats, right?
Yeah.
That's when Jordan took ownership there, and now the Bobcats returned back to the Hornets.
They went back to their original name because the Bobcat name was stupid. So, and then New Orleans switched and went to the Pelicans. So none of it's really working.
Charlotte pulled a Cleveland Browns where Cleveland went to Baltimore.
Exactly.
And then picked up another. All right, I got you.
Right. And the Bobcats went by the wayside.
I mean, it would be
maybe we could do the Bobcats.
It would be
just
fantastic.
Football, man. Who cares?
Well, with Zion, oh man, and the draft picks coming in, it would be really cool to see them starting up. With what they'll start to have available in the draft, if they were to get here soon, with young talent developing, that's a pipe dream. Actually, that's the first time anyone's mentioned that, Steve. Now I'm really interested. I hope they start writing more about that. Okay.
All right. So, Bret, can we go off of sports for a little bit?
Sure.
Do you mind?
Of course.
Okay. Because I gotta ask a couple of Cobra Kai questions.
Absolutely.
A couple. How'd you get hooked up with the show?
I mean, well, the writers, the guys that created it, they did. I don't know if you know this or not. They did Hot Tub Time Machine and Harold and Kumar, right?
Oh, I love that movie.
So they're familiar with comedy, and I guess it was a request, from what I understand, to me to go in and read. So I just went in and I read for them. The irony, well, you brought up Asbury Park, but I was doing a show in Asbury that week, so I was there all week promoting.
Yeah.
So it's funny in LA or in Hollywood, not that I have a thick accent at all, because you're from there. If you're in Jersey and you hear me talk, I sound like an aristocrat. I don't have that, the dog, So you work to kind of lose it a little.
Yeah.
But when I was in Jersey all week, I got a call for the audition while I was there. Didn't really look at it until I was on the plane. Got off the plane. Well, I looked at it the morning, and then Monday I flew in. So I had a day to work on it. And then I flew in on Monday. So when I went in to read, I was around the accent all day. It just came out more natural. And I think that helped get the role.
But like you said, all you got to do is hear it a little bit, and then you just go back in time.
Yeah.
Back to the accent.
Yeah.
I love that you're like, I just looked at it when I was flying out there. You're not nervous when you go do these things?
No. I've been doing it a long time, man. I mean, look, for auditioning is a way different from acting. To me, auditioning is harder than acting itself. But, you prep the sides. You do your work. It's not like I didn't do the work. I had a day to work on the sides, but it was just an audition. So it's just
Brett, you look like a fish in water in that part too. Please, like you had to do a lot of back.
Yeah, I do a lot of research.
You look like a fish in water. I was like, I didn't even know he was on it. Brett and I have been friends for a long time. A buddy was like, "Hey, you should check out Cobra Kai." Everyone was a Karate Kid fan growing up, and I was like, "Oh shit, Brett! I think I shot you a text, been like, hey, congrats on the gig." Didn't even know he was on it, and I didn't even remember his character's name because. Fucking Brett. I'm not saying you can't act. I've seen you act plenty. You're good. He's great. Check out the Weeds. Brett did an episode on Weeds. I thought he was fantastic.
Two, by the way, not 1, 2. Okay.
Give me credit. So you've been doing it for a while. Do you have a good idea when you try for something, when you get involved in something like, hey, this is going to work. This is going to be good. Like, did you know when Cobra Kai were you like, oh, this could be really good? Because a lot of people when they hear the concept, they're like, that's fucking stupid. And I told everyone who hasn't watched it, I'm like, watch it. You'll get it. It's going to be good.
Well, in the beginning, again, we shot it for YouTube Premium, right, for their streaming service. which they outbid everybody on the show. And because Will Smith executive produces it as well, his company. Like there's a lot of guys behind it. So,
Yeah.
and just for the record, when I got the call from my manager, he's like, yo, there's this thing they're doing on the Karate Kid on the internet for YouTube if you're interested. But it pays, he goes, it pays like a real show. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. Of course, you know? So I was too busy because I was doing a theater. So, you know, when you do a theater, you're responsible financially for everything. So, you know, I'm there promoting it. I'm on the radio stations. I'm trying to pack the thing on Saturday night. You know what I mean? Yeah. So once the show was over, I got a chance to decompress. I broke out the sides. And again, when you're auditioning, it's only 1 or 2 scenes that they have you read, right? So it's not like it's and I don't have to be off book, even though I can be. I usually am or try to be. So I worked on it all day Sunday and flew in Monday, went from the plane ride right to the audition at the studio. You know, so I did prep for it. It wasn't like I just went in like I'm a natural. It takes work. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then what happens is when you read it, they'll give you a call back. Then you meet with producers. Then you get tested, and then they offer you the role. So there's like a whole process that you go through. So and once you start,
STD came back clean. So
everything was clean. That's what they got tested for COVID.
Right back in.
No, but I've been doing stand up 24 years, man. So you know, there are people in the industry that knew me already. So that does help. You know what I mean?
Do you like every once in a while? I'm not a big timer, but I've covered enough stuff where I get exposed to some decent level athletes and interviews, at least be around them. People ask like, "Hey, is there anyone you're intimidated by? Anyone you're in awe of?" Like, is there anyone that you're around now where you're like, "Holy shit, that's so and so," like, you know, that you worked with or in comedy, or are you in awe of anyone anymore?
I mean, it's weird to say that because when I first got to LA, yes, like, but now I'm friends. Like when I'm really good friends with Dice, but when I first saw him, I was like,
"Oh my god!"
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I will say, rest his soul. The one person that I really couldn't believe I was meeting, and then we had a friendship so much that I even spoke at his service was Roddy Piper.
No way.
That was really big for me as a kid. You know, I'll be honest with you. It's mostly the people that when I was a kid that I saw. I would say that when I met Stallone for the first time, I creeped him out. Like I was fanboy.
Yep. That's always the fear. And the same thing in sports radio. When you get around an athlete and they're kind of cool, you'd like freaking pump the brakes, man. Don't get all freaking, teenage geekoid.
But when we did the Vince Vaughn, because I was in this was like a documentary, a movie I did. We were promoting it, and I was on a UFC show with another comedian, with John Caparulo, and Joe Rogan was actually interviewing us to promote the movie. Yeah. And Stallone was there promoting the new Rambo. And to me, like, I just wanted to tell him how much Rocky meant to me. Because it was, because I had a lot of, you go through things growing up, and I would just watch that movie, and it motivated me. I've watched it 1,000 times. Anytime I need to watch it, it gets me going. I listen to the soundtrack sometimes.
The soundtrack, yes.
Rocky IV soundtrack.
Rocky IV soundtrack is the best ever.
No Easy Way Out. Come on.
I'm pretty sure that's actually what ended the Cold War. I'm not convinced that it was a fall of the Berlin Wall. I'm pretty sure.
Chuck's not getting this. Chuck's not getting this. The soundtrack, Chuck. The guys I do the show with, I'm not.
It's on fire.
Exactly. And the montages. Fucking, he's on the mountain. He's just like, Drago. That's unbelievable. Falling down with the Mercedes chasing him. It's unbelievable.
I always wanted a Lamborghini with Southpaw on it. So whenever me and my wife were fighting, I'm just gonna jump in it and put it on.
There's no easy way out. There's no short.
The training montage.
It's the mic. Sorry, Bret, go.
Nice. No, the training montage is unbelievable.
Oh, it's amazing.
Rocky is to me is the greatest movie of all time, and people, it did win an Academy Award, so it's not that far fetched to say. But what people don't realize about the movie It's a love story. And that's what it's about. And what's insane about it is it just starts off with this guy that is just moping around the neighborhood. He's not really doing anything. He's just doing what he can. And there's a great scene too where Rocky's looking in the mirror and he sees a picture of himself as a kid, innocent. Then he looks at himself, and then you see his parents, but he's all alone. Yeah. And then he likes this girl that nobody cares about, right? That is just weird and odd. But then he gets this opportunity that he's afraid to do, right? And then the next thing you know, you're in a fucking sports movie. And at the end, it's all about her. Dude, there are so many scenes. Like, one of my favorite parts in the movie is when they're watching the press conference at Adrian's, right? And Apollo's like, hey, he's Italian. If he can't fight, maybe he could cook. And Apollo and Paulie goes, you let him get away with that? Because, and he's like, it didn't bother me. So then when he's leaving the house, you see Adrian on the porch, and you see Rocky's profile. And she goes, you coming over tomorrow? He says, yeah. Then he says, remember when I said it didn't bother me? It did. And I'm getting goosebumps now.
You kind of got me jacked up. I'm like, oh, man.
Now he's like, yeah, it didn't bother me. And then he just starts, it's like, it set him off. It's funny. My grandfather told me something, because they all fought in World War II, that there were guys that were in the trenches that you would never know in a million years. And it's just about being a man, and you don't know what the fuck you're capable of until you're tested. And that's what that movie's about. And I'll go kill everybody right now.
This happens.
What it's about.
This happens on the Bret and Chuck show every day. This is usually how the show hits its peak. Bret gets amped up.
I'll tell you my other favorite scene in the movie too, man. We realize what they are. If you ever watch The Godfather, and Enzo the baker comes, and he's like, I'm Enzo the baker. I'm friends with your father, right? He's all nervous. Then they're in front of the hospital. And he's like, pretend you're a gangster. Because remember, they moved the men because they were coming to kill his old man. They were coming to kill Don Corleone. So after Enzo's over and the guys leave, he's trying to light a cigarette. And Michael takes the lighter and he lights it. And he looks at his hand, and it's not even shaking. And that's when he knew. Now, they also gave you hints because he was a war hero when they talk about what he did in the war. Anyways, that's the part. That's what Rocky's about, is when a man is tested. There was an actor, Chuck. Do you know who Audie Murphy is?
No, I don't think so.
All right, he was an actor in the 50s or in the 30s and 40s that won a Congressional Medal. I mean, he was an actor later on. He won the Congressional Medal of Honor. He took a whole fucking hill by himself.
Wow.
And then when he was asked how he was able to do it, his response was, those were my friends over there. What was I supposed to do?
Wow. That's amazing.
Let's go.
I can't get Bret over here to do mitts in the middle of a reasonable time of day. Now it's 11:30 at night. It's 11:30 at night, and he'd probably be doing mitts in my garage right now.
No easy way out, man.
Bret,
I try to get you into a boxing session all day long, and now it's 11:30. Probably can't.
I told you I hurt my shoulder, but
my shoulder. My shoulder.
I can keep throwing lefts though.
At some point, every Bret and Chuck show includes Bret walking off the camera and just like Raging Bull style, just putting his balls in his dick and a thing of ice just to calm the fuck down. He's all fired up. You just finished off a rant 2 minutes ago. You're like, I gotta kill somebody. Like, I'm in. When are you guys on? What time? I'm in.
Oh, we're developing right now. Just hopefully you can send people the link to our Facebook fan page right now. We're just be doing a lot more getting ready for football. We're just loving.
Fuck my chest hurts. Christ, I got all worked up.
But again,
but you're right.
Rock, greatest movie of all time, and then top 5. By the way, top 5 movies, Chuck, of all time. 3 are about Italian Americans. How you doing? Top 10?
I didn't expect it. You know what was interesting? One of the more interesting parts of Rocky 1, the ice rink scene. He had to incorporate that, I think, like in the middle of production. Once I thought that was interesting. That ice rink scene's pretty famous, you would say, right? You know, he takes Adrian to the ice rink. I've seen in an interview. Yeah, in an interview, Sly was just like, "Yeah, I just in the middle of shooting, we needed more in the movie, so we went to an ice rink." I was like, "What? That was the extent of that?" He's like, "That was it." Yeah.
Bong, bong. When he's fucking with his knuckle, it's all fucked up. She's like, ah. By the way, Paulie could be the worst brother in the history of brothers.
Can I have a job? Can I have a job?
Paulie threw the turkey out. You're a whore. You're busted. Yeah, he's the worst brother ever, dude. She was cooking the turkey all day, threw it in the fucking alley.
But you gotta think, and Paulie screws the whole thing up in Rocky V too. You know, he loses all the money in the end. Paulie is like, I mean, up and down. First off, he's the tough guy there. He kind of plateaus in 2 when he stays at home. 3, he kind of takes a dip because like, can I have a job? You know, 4, he's in the corner back with Rocky. And 5, he loses all the money in the real estate deal.
There is no 5.
There is no 5. It's garbage. It's garbage. But Paulie is what I'm talking about. It's like, damn, Paulie's all over the place through all 5. Like some areas, like Rocky 4, you kid, it hit here when he's like, well, I think if I could crawl out of myself and be someone else, I want to be you. You're all hot, Rock.
Yeah.
That's a good scene. It's a good scene. The real estate money really loses it all. Now Rocky's broke again. Like, damn, Paulie. All right, that's all I got, Paulie.
All right, let's talk. Any more questions about Cobra Kai?
That was it. I didn't want to beat you over the head with it. I just had a couple questions.
No, that's fine, man. I'm glad you liked the show, but you said something earlier. You said something earlier, though, that was true, is that you know, it was on YouTube. We shot the first 3 seasons for YouTube, but there were a lot of people that were hating on it before they saw it because, you know, they didn't know what the writers were going to do with it. And after we shot it, we knew it was a good show, right? And the people that saw it knew it was a good show, but nobody really knew it was around until we went on Netflix, and then it became the number 1 show in the world, you know? But now season 4 is in the can. Season 4 is in the can, and it's got a release date, I think, in December, end of December. So
nice.
So, anyone who hasn't watched it, if you saw Karate Kid in the first place, go watch it. The jokes are ridiculous. They're so funny, and it's just the fact that this comedy has this like constant decision you have to make of like who's good and who's evil. That just makes the show. Every time you watch the show, you're like, you know what? Daniel's a scumbag, and then you're like, but no, he's a good guy. You know, Johnny, God damn it, John, oh, he's a good guy.
And that was extra.
What shows have that?
And that was extra embarrassing for me because I met Bret telling him that I was Ralph Macchio, and how embarrassing that was when he ended up working with him and be like, oh wait, no, you're not.
Actually, all jokes aside, I worked with him before on Beer League.
Did you? Oh yeah, I remember that movie.
But,
you were in Beer League?
Yeah. But the only other show that really did that, Steve, was The Sopranos. If you ever watch The Sopranos, as soon as you start liking one of those people, you realize what a piece of shit they are. Yep. You know, and every one of them, even Carmela. You know, there's a great scene when she's at she goes to a psychiatrist that's a Jewish guy, and he's just so honest with her about what she is, and she's still in denial. That movie was phenomenal. You had everybody you rooted for and against.
Chuck, did you like Sopranos?
You know, I didn't watch it as much as I should have, to be honest. I was more into
Go back and watch it.
Yeah, I got to go back because
Bret's like, what the fuck? What's wrong with you?
No, I get it. Hey, you have a right to be upset. I watched The Wire. The Wire was my thing. Look at his eyebrows. Yeah, I love The Wire. I mean, and at the time, it was like really popular around high school when I didn't have HBO anymore. So it was like I missed a bunch of seasons. But yeah, that's one of those that I can jump back in. I just finished Ray Donovan. That was pretty awesome. But
The Sopranos is considered the greatest TV show ever. Oh, Detroit Lenny just said it. It's considered one of the great. It is considered the greatest show of all time. Now, the show that really started everything the Wire is unbelievable too. I put that in my top 5, but and I didn't mean it as an Italian American or half Italian American or Sicilian American from New Jersey. As a person that loves TV, and if you have to watch it, man, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I actually do think, well, one, if you're not from New Jersey, New York, maybe you don't get some of it, but you should watch it anyway, so you kind of get an idea. But I think if you're actually from the area, there's a connection on a different level.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. Well, I used to live in that neighborhood where Satin Dolls is the Bada Bing in Lodi.
Right.
So I used to stay on right back there on Putnam Street where it says Pizza Land was the street where I stayed. But I will say this, the show that really set that type of genre off was it was the one about the funeral home, 6 Feet Under.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that was like one of the first of that type of genre. And then The Sopranos took it to a whole other level. The Wire was unbelievable. And I'll tell you what show was phenomenal and is the biggest is Game of Thrones, man. Watching Game of Thrones, that last season, it made it the worst show ever.
we would talk Game of Thrones all the time. Steve, you'd incorporate it into the show often back when I was.
Well, I would, and I'm not objective at all on the last season. I defend it, but I also my girlfriend's a freaking lunatic, so I can't say anything bad about it. But they tried to squeeze in too much. They tried to squeeze in way too much, and it fell flat.
Well,
so
the reality was, it used to bother me because you would watch the show, and then after the show, the writers are talking about it like they created it.
Yeah.
But because the book wasn't finished, it was
Right.
their responsibility to do that last season.
right.
It was straight. I mean, even having Starbucks cups in the scenes and bottles of water.
Yeah, they fucked it up.
I mean,
Yeah.
What were they doing?
Rushing, I guess.
They set it all up.
That's
They
why
should have the dragon blow fire on to incinerate Jon Snow, and everybody would see that he didn't catch on fire, so they knew he was a Targaryen. You know what I mean? And whether he was with his aunt or not, because she started losing her mind, which was her father, the Mad King.
Yeah.
It was all set up, and the next thing you know, there's a tribe, and then the fucking what's his name, the little Lannister dude becomes what the fuck?
Yeah, Tyrion.
I didn't like it. I'm sorry. So, anyways, let's talk.
No, I wanted to mention one last thing along those lines. I don't know how you look at them, but for that reason, like when those guys had to really take over for whatever his name is, George Martin, whatever his full name is, because the book wasn't done. Doesn't that give that much more respect to what Jon Favreau's done around Star Wars?
Buddy, listen.
That guy has saved the fucking franchise. Holy shit!
Saved it. Those last three movies.
He is brilliant. I mean, listen, I'm not inside, and you're a very smart guy in this stuff, but there's got to be immense respect for Favreau. Yeah,
there. First of all, John, one of the most creative.
So crazy.
Directors, dude, what he did with that franchise. Now, the funny thing is this: what people fail to realize, why those last three Star Warses or whatever they were, Rise of Skywalker, were so goddamn awful is because the whole 6 movies before them is about Anakin being the chosen one. And the fact that he killed the Emperor and brought balance back to the Force made us realize he was the chosen one. It just wasn't the route that they were supposed to go. The laziness of not only is the Emperor not dead, so now that just negates that whole Anakin Skywalker arc. But they just put it in the beginning of the fucking credits. Oh, by the way, the Emperor's alive and he's on a fish tank. What the fuck? At least if you're going to make him alive, don't be lazy with it and explain it, That was the biggest disappointment of the whole thing. Now, again, as far as the lead being a woman and all that stuff that politicized, people don't know. Lucas originally wanted Skywalker to be a woman, was supposed to be a girl. That stuff wasn't real. It was the laziness of it. It just, it didn't make sense. The first one was too gratuitous, and then you got Kylo Ren, who's always crying. I don't know what the hell was going on.
Quick Favreau story, real quick. Bret, you worked with him, so obviously he's going to be nice. He's going to be nice to you. You guys are in the production team together, whatever. When I was 19, first job gig I got in LA was parking cars. Favreau pulls up, And there are fans at this Hollywood party that just want a glimpse of celebrity. Everybody going in as a celebrity. Nobody's being nice to this group of people. Meg Ryan being one of them. Like, some of them flat out rude to these fans just trying to get a glimpse of the celebrity. Favreau comes over to me and asks, he's like, are those just fans over there? And every celebrity prior to that was coming up to me to try to keep their distance. So I assume he was doing the same. And I was like, yeah, but if you just kind of keep to yourself, they won't bother you. Kind of, that's what I said to Favreau. Walks right across the street, signs everything on any one of the fans. The only guy to do it at a Hollywood party. I've seen so many people, all class, couldn't believe how much better he looked than every single celebrity at that party. And that was me as absolutely nobody, 19 years old, just got into Los Angeles. Great guy.
I will say really quick that I've been very fortunate enough to hang out with him a bunch of times, and he couldn't be one of the most nicest guys that I've ever met. And on top of that, again, his directing. I mean, look what he did with Iron Man. And he's responsible for that. Him and Peter Billingsley, this dude right here, that played Ralphie in Christmas Story. They executive produced the first Iron Man. That put Marvel back on the map. It was really an independent film.
That was the catalyst to all.
And then what he did with the Jungle Book and with the Mandalorian, the Mandalorian saved the whole franchise.
So good.
And then to make Luke Skywalker come back, dude, I mean, people were crying. It was such a smart move. They could have went with anybody from the Rebel Wars, or they went with Luke, and you knew it was him. But that was the other thing. You're looking, going, is that an X-Wing fighter? Right. It's not a spoiler, dude.
It's already out.
Yeah, it's been out fucking 2 years.
Come on.
Hold on, Steve. At the end of Titanic, when the boat sinks.
No.
Oh, don't say that.
Don't tell him what happened to Jack.
That's it. We got him muted. He's not going to ruin any more movies for you guys. That's it.
Dude, if you haven't seen The Mandalorian, then you're not a fan, dude. The minute it came back, dude. Again, I agree with you. He saved that whole franchise. So now it's like, okay, here you go, guys. You got your franchise back. Don't fuck it up again.
Don't fuck it up. Exactly.
I mean, I don't know what they're going to do for the other. If they're going to do more of the movies. I know that I heard the series with Ben Kenobi is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Ewan McGregor playing him, right? Ewan McGregor?
Yeah, I've heard a couple of – and they bring an Anakin back. I mean, the kid that played Anakin, too.
Christian
not that kid. But yeah. I heard a couple of people that have said it's really good from what I've heard. So – and I thought we were going to talk about college athletes getting paid.
I know, right? I know.
That's how these shows go.
What else, Chuck? Give us a sports topic to close out strong with. What do you got? You want to bring us all down? Talk about Carl Nassib?
Yeah, I thought it would be a bad way to end, but it's
too heavy.
What do you
it's
mean?
a little heavy.
About what? What happened?
Oh, you didn't see it?
Carl Nassib. Well, I mean, maybe we should, Steve. It might not be the strongest way to close, but here's my thought. Maybe we could turn it into something funny.
What are we talking about? What happened?
Nothing else, if nothing
Just
else,
tell him what happened, Chuck. He's asking 5 times what happened. Tell him.
So Carl Nassib, being the first active NFL player from the Las Vegas, has come out gay. And
I love it. I love him. I love the shrug of the shoulders. But Bret, in the sports world, though.
But it's already known that there's been a bunch of guys that just didn't come out. Like I think a lot of the younger guys, it's not like the 70s and 80s where I'm glad the kid came out. That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. No, that's great that he came out, but at the same time, I think the NFL is. I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a down thing to end it on. Spoiler: he's gay.
Thanks, Lenny. We were building up.
I am just as happy for Taylor Swift of all people, because this could be the first time that a breakup was not her fault. People are just, she didn't know that he was gay, and people are just made differently. That relationship ended, not her fault. Congrats.
Wait, is that
I
actually
don't know
serious?
what was the guy's name, by the way. I heard a guy came out.
They dated. Come on, Taylor. Steve, you know that. You know Taylor Swift. You knew Nassib dated Taylor Swift.
I had
right?
no, I didn't know that. No, I had no idea.
Oh, that botched the whole joke. I'm
Wait,
embarrassed.
what's his last name?
Carl Nassib. His brother actually played for the Giants. Ryan Nassib from Syracuse, and Carl Nassib went to Penn State.
Here's my real feeling.
He's a white dude.
Yeah, he played for Cleveland as well.
He was on Hard Knocks. He was like a big.
I just heard that the NFL guy, that their guy came out in the NFL. So I didn't.
That's
so
him.
Yeah, that's it.
It's Carl Nassib, defensive end, Raiders, massive dude, like 6'7", 275, and he just put out a video today, and he's like, "Hey, it's Carl Nassib. I'm gay," and then he said he was going to contribute $100,000 to a really good cause. So.
Yeah, listen, my brother was gay, and let me tell you, there's a bunch of people out there that you don't know about that they do know about. That, you know, it's always been around. That's getting back to the Sopranos with what's his name, Vito, and then Tony made the comment. He goes, "Come on, we all know that he's not the first." You know what I mean? Like, I think it's great because, again, it can help people that are still ashamed of it. But in today's day and age, you know, it's sad. It's a shame that we even have to even talk about it like that. You know what I mean? It should just.
We have to be here to get there. You're absolutely right, Brett. We have to be here to where it's a conversation till eventually it no longer is. But Steve, you remember when Michael Sam was drafted? I was still working with you guys at the time. Adam said something extremely poignant that stuck with me. Michael Sam was not highly touted at all coming out of Missouri.
I know, that was my joke, by the way, Chuck.
That was your bit?
I said, now we have the first openly gay Canadian football player. I know the Rams drafted him, but there was no way he was making a team.
Yeah.
No.
And his boyfriend's grandfather was a gangster.
Yeah, I did hear that. But Adam made a really good theory prediction. I don't know if anybody really looked into it. The idea that Goodell could have reached out to the Rams, maybe even Jeff Fisher, to be like, "Hey guys, it's deep in the draft now. We have to set an example. This guy just can't go undrafted. Somebody has to make a statement and get this guy off the board. Otherwise, we're going to look very bad." And that's an uncomfortable place to put any team in, especially in a scenario where he's openly gay coming out of college. People probably didn't want him, and certainly his abilities on the field showed that he didn't deserve the draft pick that he had. Now, Carl Nassib's been in the league for a while. He is seasoned. This is a great type of person to come in. My only concern with him is I hope he can really be himself. And, Brett, you've spent a ton of time in L.A. You have a gay brother. They come in all different styles of people. The idea of a cliche homosexual is one of the most naive things ever. They're flamboyant. They're clean cut or whatever. A homosexual comes in every different capacity. If the guy wants to be a little bit more flamboyant, a little bit more out, maybe something that might come off uncomfortable to people in the NFL, I hope he has the confidence to do it because that's real progress.
But that's not what's happening.
You don't think that's going to happen. But hey, if he's holding it back, I hope he doesn't because that's real progress. If the guy wants to win,
let me explain to you why.
I hope he does.
Okay.
Why? If he loses sponsorship with Chick-fil-A, who gives a shit? If you want to go in dressed any way that you want as a homosexual, whatever is going to make you feel like the way you want to feel, I support it full force. That's progress, not just, oh, you're gay, congratulations.
But here's what you're saying is not informed. In the gay community, you have masculine gay guys and effeminate. My brother was more masculine. He wasn't trying to hold in his effeminateness, okay?
Right.
I'm pretty sure he's more on the masculine side, so it's not like he's holding back.
But you're assuming. Right? You don't know that.
No, in his I can tell. Huh? I didn't hear his.
You know, anyway, all I'm saying is I hope he is comfortable being his authentic self because I think that would be the most progressive thing he can do, not feeling like he has to hold back. Like you're talking about, Brett. We've been around that time. I worked at a gay bar for 4 years. 4 years in LA. I've been around all different types. been able to see the most flamboyant to the most reserved just in the environment. I just hope he is honest with himself amongst everybody around and saying, you get to behave exactly the way that you want to within the confines of what you would say is, I don't know, whatever restrictions you would have on whatever rules they would attach.
I'm reading his. No, I'm reading,
but
I'm trying to tell you, my whole life I've been around it. He's not pretending to be. He's not going to come out. He's not a feminine gay guy. I'm actually reading his statement. What he said. He gave to the. By the way, there's been 26 football players to come out in the history of the NFL. Now, again, it's not like, with Bruce Jenner that wanted to be, Caitlyn Jenner. This is a different thing. I mean, look, if he is, he is, but I don't think he is. I think the way he's articulating himself. He sounds a lot like my brother.
Right. And Bret, I'm not refuting that. I'm seeing that as well. But maybe he's approaching an environment where even he said himself, I'm getting this off my chest. What if he starts to feel a bit more relaxed and thinking to himself, we've been around a person who wants to be a little bit more expressive, a little bit more flamboyant.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you that's a stereotype. A lot of gay guys aren't that way.
No, it's not. Dude, no, it's not. I've been around. Okay. Come on, West Hollywood. You spent just as much time around West Hollywood as I have. Those people exist.
No, listen, the way I grew up and being around it, I'm telling you, most gay guys do not act effeminate.
I agree, but some.
There are some. I think, I'm saying, in my opinion, being that way in that sport and everything, like I think he is already acting the way he acts. Like I said, one of my brother's boyfriends, for like 4 years, was a guy that was ex-special forces. Like, he would have never known.
Right.
And even, it wasn't like, and again, a lot of those guys take pride in that as well. I mean, it's part of the, I don't want to do the big.
You get what I'm saying, though, right? Because
I get what you're saying. If he is that way, I'm saying I don't think he is.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but we never know. Maybe there might be a relaxed degree there. I don't want him to be anything other than authentic, is what I'm getting at. And one of the reasons I'm bringing it up this way is I don't want the NFL or sponsorship concerns or anything else to try to get this guy to behave a certain way, to come off like he's not.
This is what I'm disagreeing with you with, Chuck. In today's day and age, nobody, if anything, he's going to get more sponsors. Everybody's trying to eat. Everybody's virtue signaling, including yourself right now.
Okay. You mean to tell me in the NFL, there ain't going to be a handful of red-blooded American sponsors that in the back rooms are going to be pushing away from this guy a little bit? I'm not disagreeing with you that there will be. I mean,
I think it's Chuck. I think it's the total opposite. As Bret just said, there'll be so many companies that really aren't genuine, but out front they're going to try to virtue signal and they're going to try to latch onto this.
And he's going to get endorsements.
I'm not going to refute that at all, and I think there is some value in that as well, of course. But virtue signaling also has a lack of authenticity as well from the company, who's just trying to profit off of knowing the homosexual market is going to be.
Of course. I think right now, again, because even reading his statement, I think what he did. He even said, I'm not a public person, so I'm only doing this because there's so many kids that may feel that are like me. Right. Like, you got to understand something. When you're overly gay, even as a kid, when you're still a masculine guy and you're gay, I think it messes with your head a little. And this is what I think he was doing. I know that's the problem my brother had. You know what I mean? Like, he was still a dude, and girls liked him, but he just liked dudes. Now, again, he had some traits that if you were talking to him for a while, but I think this is going to help. I think it's all positive. I don't think the NFL is going to turn their back on him. I don't think anybody's dropping sponsorships. Again, if anything, he's going to get sponsorship as not even starting in the league. I don't think it's going to backfire in that aspect where there's Chick-fil-A is going to cut him. Chick-fil-A is still Chick-fil-A. I mean,
Boy, that would be epic. That would be epic if Chick-fil-A tries to pull that crap.
They don't sponsor anybody.
They would be lying if they said they supported it. with everything else they do. Why this would be where
they Chuck, really quick, because this is what we get into these every now and then.
Yes, we do. This is my
Chick-fil-A. The guy that owns Chick-fil-A was in a traditional marriage. That's what he pays. He would be against me living. I mean, he would have an opinion against me living, not even being married. All right, but that's his right. Yeah. They make great sandwiches. The point is Chick-fil-A is not even a factor in this. What NFL guy do they sponsor? Nobody does. So now we're creating an issue that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I know. We're doing the dramatic aspect of it. Okay, fine. Yeah, Bret, I'm bringing the reference. You're right. I'm bringing the reference to it because it's such it's lowest hanging fruit. But I'm also referencing Chick-fil-A as one of those examples because I disagree that there's going to be some of those sponsors as open as you claim that they're going to be because they'll have an excuse other than the fact that he's homosexual.
All right. By the way, just so you know, I'm for gay marriage, okay? But also, when you have to realize that what happened to Chick-fil-A was they didn't pull a sponsorship. They found out that they were donating to traditional marriage groups, which is their fucking right.
It is their right.
And people made an issue out of it in LA, right? They're protesting Chick-fil-A. By the way, this is what's fucked up about LA, Steve. Chick-fil-A, they're all protesting Chick-fil-A. But down the street is a cafe called Mao's Cafe. So they're okay with 70 million fucking people being killed by his leap forward and having a communist cafe and a statue of fucking Vladimir Lenin on La Cienega, but a private company that is donating to a group that they got exposed and got in trouble. That's who they have the fucking problem with, which makes the hypocrisy of the whole thing. Chick-fil-A had never pulled sponsorship. And by the way, I don't agree with it. Okay? I don't agree with them. Obviously, I'm 100% for gay marriage, but I do agree with their right to give. And just like I don't give a fuck if they don't care that I wasn't married and living with a girl, or I just clipped some fucking whatever. I had sex out of wedlock. He's against all that. I don't give a fuck. He can be. It's got nothing to do with me. Now, again, I think this is a great thing board. I don't think there's going to be any backlash from it, and I think the kid's going to get more sponsorships, and he's not even starting, and that's great too because we need a face.
At least he's playing because Steve, for the longest time, there were the rumors about Aaron Rodgers and every girl that he's with being his beard. He carried it with him long enough. Eventually, gets married. I don't even know if it's put to bed or otherwise. But the big question there is Aaron Rodgers dodging this because he's afraid of what can happen on the sponsorships side, or is he just not gay? And this was a really stupid theory that anybody had to begin with, because I think the whole idea is they wanted an active athlete who actually makes a difference on the field. And that's kind of Carl Nassib. I mean, I hope he is. I think he should be incorporated into the defense, and I hope he'll get every opportunity he's ever had. Nothing's going to change that. But this reminds me of the Aaron Rodgers situation because it seemed like Aaron Rodgers wasn't coming out because of the concerns with sponsorships going away, and or the opposite end of it was maybe he's just not gay. Stop talking about it.
Why do you think that sponsorships are going to go away? Like Gillette just did a whole commercial campaign.
Because there was a time where this was an issue with the potential of Aaron Rodgers coming out. Because there was a time. Maybe it's not anymore.
1950, the guy, maybe he's 70. In today's day and age, comes to be gay. It's going to be fucking celebrated by every. Listen, Budweiser is supporting Pride Month. Gillette did a whole series which backfired, by the way, on male toxicity. What group that is sponsoring? What sponsorships does he have that you think he's going to lose if he came out as gay? I don't even think he's gay.
Don't worry. We're not arguing. Mommy and daddy.
These are Italians talking. He's Mexican, so this is what happens.
It's just
all the cologne cultures yell. No, what I'm saying is I don't think that'll happen to him, Chuck. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers is gay, dude. They said the same thing.
Steve, I was bringing it up. I didn't need you to jump in, but you remember the theories. You talked about it on the air, and that was brought to the forefront. Maybe it's happening because of concern of losing sponsorship opportunities. Don't think that's prevalent as much today, and really comes back to okay, maybe he wasn't gay to begin with.
I'm saying it would be a smart business decision, but go ahead.
Yeah. Chuck, I've never heard any of this. You're making this all up, man.
Shut up.
I know, I'm kidding. No, it's been out there forever, and we have guys on our show who've talked about it. So I don't know. That's people speculate that might be the reason for the rift between Aaron Rodgers and his family. So I don't know. In the end, honestly, I don't give a shit if he wants to. If he is gay, I don't care. If he's not, it doesn't matter. If he wants to come out, if he wants to do what NASA did, do what you want. So it doesn't affect me.
I think we're all in agreement, though, that it's a very good thing that this happened. That you do have an active player. Like I said, all the 26 that have come out, they were already out of the league.
Right.
There's a couple of college guys that came out, though, isn't there?
Yeah.
And it's good that, and again, I'm not obviously I don't virtue signal at all. I'm just telling you exactly how I feel and what I was raised around and what I saw. And it was very difficult being a gay man in the 80s and even the 90s. And then, so all of this type of push is really good stuff. And, it is, man. I mean, people are born that way. It's just how they are. And they shouldn't be ashamed of it. And, again, I think this is going to help his career, if anything, buddy.
Do you think?
I hope so.
Do you think any other active pro athletes will look at Carl Nassib and go, you know what, maybe this is time?
I think so. I mean, I hope so. Was there one in the NBA?
Right after he was either at the end of his career or right after Jason Collins. So he has a twin brother, but Jason Collins came out. So, but a guy who's in his prime, Nassib is a backup, but he's making $8 million a year. The Raiders signed him to a big deal, for the level he's at. So I mean, he's not a candidate to be cut. Right, he's not a candidate to be cut anytime soon. I can tell you that. But no, he's a guy. He'll have another 3-4 years in the NFL minimum.
I love where Chuck's head's at, though. I really do. I really, if God forbid that does happen, I don't think it will. But if it does, then fuck that company. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying that to obviously. Again, I feel that way. I mean, again, I grew up around it, man. I felt so bad, and you know how many. How about this? You know how many fucking fights I got into because my brother that they even called him that.
Right.
And I'm fighting saying he's not, even though I know he is.
Right.
I mean, and they're taking that shit out on me, let alone what they're gonna go through. You understand? So it is, man. It was a problem. I'm glad it's not anymore. Yeah. But I do think college football players should get paid.
You know what? That's it. We're closing on that. We went long. Bret, we appreciate your time. Chuck. So, Chuck, what's going on? What's in the development here? When are we going to see a regular show? Come on.
Yeah, the Bret and Chuck show. As we get closer to football, you're going to see us more regularly. Of course, Bret's on the road a lot. Check out Bret, his road gigs, things like that. If he's ever in your town, you really got to.
What I do now is I actually have another podcast on Blogging the Boys on sports on the SB Nation. It's a Cowboys podcast. It's called Jersey Boys, and it's all guys from Jersey that are Cowboys fans.
You fucking asshole.
I wanted to stay in this sports world. And Chuck, I've known a while. And when I moved to Vegas, I'm like, yo, bro, we should do something. And he had an idea. So we put this together. And it's a lot of me yelling at him and then him. I
was fiending for it, lost it with Steve. So
yeah, I was going to say, Chuck has experience of getting yelled at every day. As Adam and I and the rest of us we just bullied him.
Yeah, we'll get him back at the studio, Black Shirt Studios. We got to get you the better mic. In the good camera, but we'll start to make this more of a regular thing as we get closer to football. Please check us out on Facebook, the Bret and Chuck Show, and follow us on Twitter. We're looking forward to hanging out with you guys again. Steve, thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Nice meeting you, brother. If you ever want to come check out a show, I got a residency at the Strat every Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What time is that at?
It might be too late for you. 10 o'clock.
He started the show at 10:30. Well, it's in the house though, so yeah, maybe we'll live stream it.
I don't leave the house after 6:30. I'm an old man.
You do it every Monday or every week?
Podcast. We do 5 days a week, and then I do 2 to 6 every day on the ESPN station here locally.
No, but I meant so you do this at 10 o'clock every night?
I know, terrible answer. We do some nights at 10:30. We do some nights at 9 o'clock. But yeah, we do Monday to Friday. We have a podcast every night.
Shit, because my shows are at 10, so you won't be able to go.
You know what? We'll take a night off. We'll figure it out. We've got a big crew. And by the way, I love the Strat, so I'm a big supporter of that area of town. I'll say that. Let's redevelop that area of town. We need help.
It's happening, man. It's happening. COVID screwed everything up, but that's everything, man. Now everybody's back, and it's on.
Let's go.
The room was full. I mean, first time Bret and I hung out when he moved to town, came to go check out the shop. I mean, I've seen him 100 times, but I hadn't seen him in a while, and the Strat was full. All there to see him headline that night, so people are coming out. It's nice to see.
All right, guys. Good deal. That was fun. We'll see you. Thanks, audience.